We did have a lot of questions on budget finance from residents, but we're going to switch topics right now. And the next question is, the category is property values, and it'll first go to Daphne Kinkle. The question is, what are the drivers of value you would highlight regarding our real estate at Ford's Colony? Daphne?
Thanks. I think it comes down to perceived value. This is the old location thing. There's very little we can do about specific properties, but there's a lot that we can do about the community and how people regard it, how they perceive it, and whether they're prepared to pay a premium to live here. And I think the things that, for me, that we need to focus on are the physical assets, you know, the campus, recreational facilities. It's the first thing that people see. It's a driver of value. And so maintenance and upgrade where necessary and justified by, you know, a market change is definitely worthwhile. I think the other thing is, for the people who live here right now, community is very important. And I think it will remain important, but again, we may need to change some of the ways that we do things. Those are two drivers. There are a whole lot, but it's a very well sort of targeted question.
Thank you, Daphne. Roy?
I think Daphne did a nice job with that question. I'll just add a couple of points to what she said, is that if you take a look at the resident survey, is that you'll see that some of the things that you mentioned are really high on our residents' radar list. You know, the community, its beauty, its the activities, etc. Those are all very, very important for the people who live here. And as well, those are types of things that are mentioned in new resident surveys, okay? Is that those are the things that people are in fact looking for. And the more that we can increase the demand for Ford's Colony, is that the more the value will be sustained and increased. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Ray?
I think you have to keep in mind everything that just was said in front of me, but I would say freshness. I think, you know, and it's something that I've said a number of times, and I probably continue to say, you can't let the community get old. When you have something that's mature and it looks great, when it gets overgrown, it doesn't, and you actually have to refresh it. And I think, and that's what we need to try and do. We always have to be viewed as a beautiful, fresh, new type of community, especially when new ones are popping up. The other thing I think that goes along with that is enforcement of our codes and our building standards. I mean, a colonial house that was built 50 years ago should look like a colonial house built now. However, if you had A-frames were big in the 70s and 80s. Today, it wouldn't look appropriate. I think, you know, you have to have a sense of everything being fresh and new. And I think that we work hard to keep improving that and achieving it, as well as the things that Daphne and Roy mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick?
We feel that we have a dedicated set of realtors, more than dedicated, professional, and we rely upon them and they rely upon us, and it's a perfect relationship. And I think in terms of the house, the home, the properties themselves, we can't really do any better than we're doing in terms of the house sale itself. In terms of how we look as a community, how we look at a residential community, I agree certainly with the comments that have been made prior on the need to stay fresh, beautiful, secure. But there's also an element of area. As Daphne mentioned, location. Well, probably the first location is the region itself. Why would people want to move to Tidewater? Why would people want to move to the upper part of this peninsula? Why? What's the value that we can promote in terms of any material that's viewed externally? To do that, we need a better understanding of who the target audience is, the audience that we want to project ourselves to. And it doesn't mean having trade shows or anything like that. It means, how does our material look and feel? And the marketing committee is doing a wonderful job building that out. And I think the last thing is relevance, how to stay relevant to those people retiring, or more importantly, those people simply wanting to get out of Dodge. They want to move somewhere. Why would they want to move here? The here is the region, the location, and the community itself, which is Forest Colony. And how we stay relevant to a remote work environment is something that I'd really like to see us pursue, because it is a big deal right now.
Thank you. Bob Boggio?
I think the comments that have been made are pretty good. I'd like to add a little bit to what Rick had made regarding relevance. I think we need to look forward at what relevance is going to look like. Our community, and we've seen in the surveys, is populated with, I wouldn't call it aged, but some retired, some not retired, but in the more mature part of their lives. And we're trying to attract younger families with children, etc. And we've made some attempts at adjusting some of the privileges in the community to try to address children and things of that nature. We have a pretty good school system that's supported. I think we need to take a look at making this community a little more acceptable to the working family. And that would include the IT infrastructure. I think there's some not only improvements that need to be made on an aging infrastructure, but we need to take a look at making it a little more modern and looking forward to the kind of people that will be here in 5 years or longer, and making it more comfortable for the younger folks to make this community acceptable for them and more competitive with opportunities they have elsewhere in this area. So that's about all I have to say.
Thank you.